And former GUAM legal counsel attorney Mark Smith expressing his frustration with the feds who are asking for an extension of one of their deadlines by 3 weeks. In addition, he reveals details about what he believes was his unlawful arrest that happened right in front of his 9-year-old daughter. Here's more. Attorney Mark Smith was indicted on March 14th on charges of Section 8 housing fraud when he allegedly served as legal counsel to the Guam Housing and Urban Renewal Authority, while also a Section 8 landlord. In court papers, Smith recounts his outrageous arrest 5 days after the sealed indictment was handed down. Quote, as his 9-year-old daughter looked on, Smith was arrested at the Guam International Airport by a team of approximately 8 federal agents. Because of his arrest, Smith was unable to transport his daughter to her residence, and the child's grandfather had to be summoned to look after her, end quote. This abrupt arrest, all in front of his daughter, Smith says, quote, wrongfully frightened his child, end quote. Smith argues that his arrest and the trauma it caused his daughter could have been avoided. Smith was being arrested for a crime that, quote, involved no violence or the threat of any absconding on Smith's part. In addition, Smith says he was also treated poorly by the arresting agents, one of whom allegedly told Smith he should confess and then denied him the right to contact his attorney. Instead, Smith argues that this case should have been handled with a summons to appear and not by rushing to arrest him. Quote, the government's actions have tragically embarrassed Smith professionally for a matter in which he is quite likely to be exonerated, end quote. And now the U.S. Attorney's Office is asking for an extension of an upcoming deadline to turn over evidence. In its request, the U.S. Attorney's Office says they need at least 3 more weeks to turn over discovery because of the volume of files and paperwork they need to sift through. But Smith's attorney, David Lujan, says this request for an extension is nothing more than an attempt to derail the case since Smith asserted his right to a speedy trial. Lujan also points out that the federal government had been investigating Smith for years. Quote, it's shocking to learn that after the years the government has spent in building its complaint against Smith, it is not ready to go forward with its prosecution in a timely fashion, end quote. Lujan calls this plainly outrageous, or a sign that the government forced an indictment without having all the facts to prove its charges. Well, trial is currently scheduled for June 6.